Welcome back, I'm the Watch Nerd. I took a little hiatus thinking about the channel and our future, and I will make a video, but this one I want to make very cheerful, this kind of poking fun of all the myths, the rumors, and everything that goes around it about Rolex. We're going to cover some of the myths, some of the merit, basically kind of myth busting in a way what Rolex, they're perceived as the highest brand in watchmaking by a lot of people, but you will be surprised on some of the stuff. Before I do go into it, I do want to keep announcing my Chanel chain giveaway. I'm going to be giving out this chain as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers. I would like to cover right away, right out the bat, some of the falsehoods, right? Rolex is a handmade watch. Period. That is not true. Rolex is they will put everything they can made by machines. Yes, it is very nice that there are hand finishing parts to Rolex, but as much as they could, they would put into machines. And you can't blame them, right? Their retail prices, I'm not talking gray market, but their retail prices are reasonable. They're actually, in a sort of sense, the one I'm wearing an Oyster Perpetual 41 in green. My personal watch is extremely affordable to counterparts from, let's say, Omega, from Tudor, of course, is a different story, but Omega is a big one. Breitling. This is very, very competitive, and especially for what you get. So, they try to stay competitive. They're not a Patek Philippe, right? Patek Philippe everything is hand finished. It is absolutely one of the most beautifully made movements if you look at a Patek Philippe. But they're also quadruple or even more than a Rolex typically. No, this is what the one thing about Rolex, we don't know a lot. Here's the trick: if your official dealer or your AD does not know information, right? Does not know if something's getting discontinued or whatever it is, whatever it might be, the certain manufacturing aspects of the watch, then nobody knows, right? Because Rolex will tell the official dealer what it wants to say. So if your AD doesn't know, nobody knows. Another myth is Rolex makes 800,000 watches to 1 million. I don't know where this number came from. Maybe some guy did an estimate. He went around asking official dealers how many watches they got. But at the same time, you would have to ask every single official dealer in the world how many watches they got, and they all have to be honest to get that estimate. I don't know where it came from. I think it's completely false. I think Rolex makes more than that, but I don't know. They could make less, right? Nobody knows. So that is completely false until Rolex tells information about their manufacturing. They don't do that because they're a private company. So whoever started that, it really aggravates me. Even dealers will tell you they make 800,000 to 1 million watches. Nobody knows. That is completely false. They could make 20 million watches and nobody would know, right? You might see a little bit more in the gray market, but that's a completely different story. I saw this from a guy, I don't know where he got this from, is Rolex opens and closes its clasp 1,000 times before selling the watch. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that in my life, but that's also false. There are some absurd ones out there. Hand finishing, of course, is another one, but I did cover that earlier. And who know, it is completely in-house, right? I hear this a lot. Nobody knows, right? They could have outsourced almost everything on this watch and nobody would know because it's Rolex, right? They're very, very, very secretive. They are not a corporation like Omega, because Omega is under the Swatch Group. Breitling it's under one of them. But these are the kind of the price bracket it is in Rolex. I consider them a step above, but that's just mine. One thing we do know, though, is this is a fact: all their movements are in-house. They bought Aigler, so they are Swiss-made too. So that means at least 60% of the price of the movement, the cost, I should say, has to come from Switzerland. I believe it's a little more. I think they really do make their movements, in-house, of course, because they do. We don't know how much of it is directly from Rolex manufactured, but I assume it's a lot more, and that is an assumption. One big thing before I do let you go, there is a rumor, and this was on Nico's, one of his previous videos. I do watch him a lot. I recommend him. He gets a little angry at people, but it's always fun. And he said that he ran into a video, I think it was on his Reddit, saying a guy said it takes 1 year to make a Rolex. And I wouldn't believe that if I was told that from anybody in the world. But I did walk into my official dealer, and we did have a conversation, one of my ADs, I should say, about why they are, and so you can't get them, right? Even the ADs can't get them. Well, they claim they can't get them. And I asked him, I said, why can't, anybody get this? He said, Rolex told the official dealer, this particular one, that it takes 1 year to make a watch. And, we had both had a little chuckle on it because I don't know why it would ever take a year, especially with their production numbers. Because we know for a fact they're making more than just a couple thousand watches. It's just pretty much a fact. They're making, a bit of watches. You see them all over. There are a few other rumors that 904 steel is only Rolex. No, other brands could use 904 steel. Rolex called it 904. As far as my knowledge goes, they actually used this stainless steel in Omega back when it was a private corporation before Swatch bought them. And I don't know how true that is, but I did hear that. So it's not the only brand to use 904 steel. And Rolex has special gold. Now there are some merits to this, and what I mean by that is their white gold. Pick up any white gold. I have a white gold ring on myself here, and it does turn yellow over time because on cheaper white gold they plate it with rhodium. And it's very expensive material, so that's why they only plate it. Makes it very shiny, makes it very white. But over a year or so, it does wear off. Rolex, you can scratch it, it will stay the same. It's a different alloy. As far as I know, the yellow and white gold, you don't know. They do make their gold in-house. That is one thing that they do. They're the #1 producer of gold in Switzerland. So they are very, very big. And all their hands and indices are 18 karat gold. But I would love to know, did I miss anything out? I would really love to hear that in the comments. And if you do want the Chanel chain giveaway, the 4 steps are in the description. Thanks, and I will catch you in the next one.